It's a scene of horror and disbelief. The feeling of vulnerability and panic brought on by a surprise attack.
Here on Clay Concern, we had an incident that happened this morning about 09:15. Had an explosion on our North Clay.
A sight the men and women in uniform are all too familiar with. However, this is a simulated attack. The annual full-scale exercise tests emergency procedures and local national first responders within the U.S. Army garrison Wiesbaden.
Primary purpose is to test emergency operations and getting everyone in that plays a part, because the garrison can't do emergency operations alone. And so we have great support from our host nation with our POLITSI, sometimes our fire, our hospitals in the local area. So they all play a big part in making sure that we keep our community safe.
Military members, civilians, and local national agencies work and train together to determine any difficulties in case a real threat were to occur.
In addition to the fact that I think we have a very good relationship based on partnership and mutual respect, today's exercise also shows that we are able to respond very quickly to any incidents. We are able to take the right measures quickly on the spot.
This exercise comes at a very sensitive time for the United States Army Europe, with multiple terrorist attacks in France and across the European Union. From Wiesbaden, Germany, I'm Staff Sergeant Henry Gundacker.
It's almost like we're home. I mean, we came here. I don't think a lot of us have ever been to Poland before, and it's almost like we just fit right in. They showed us their talk, and a lot of their equipment's actually pretty similar to ours, so it was pretty cool to get hands-on with them. They got a little hands-on with our stuff. We got a chance to show them our launcher systems, which is pretty much, obviously how we fire our missiles, but they were really interested in that, and we were able to show them how we tear it down, put it up, where our capabilities as far as range and speed. It's almost like they're American soldiers. I mean, it's no different working with them as it would be working with one of my battle buddies here, back in the States here. Anyway, they're like brothers.
As the desert sun sets over the Franklin Mountains, soldiers from Alpha Company 1-6 Infantry look north towards an unknown threat during the Army Warfighting Assessment, or AWA, as part of their training exercise. A mission too unpredictable, even for the most seasoned veteran.
This was actually our first full-speed breach. We had done exercise run-throughs. This is the first time that we did it against an enemy that provided the actual tank ditch, the actual obstacle belt that we did not know about.
During the mission, 40th Engineer Battalion reduced an anti-tank ditch by rapidly clearing a path for follow-on forces to advance. Once security is achieved, the Wolverine provides a bridge strong enough for the rest of the force to move north.
If I had to describe this training in a couple words, it'd probably be tough but realistic. It allows us to take some of the training we do back in the rear and combine them all into one and then exercise it on a large scale.
AWA leverages the unique and innovative training environment of Fort Bliss and White Sands Missile Range maneuver training facilities, while allowing soldiers to assess equipment designed to modernize the force. Reporting from Fort Bliss, Texas, I'm Staff Sergeant Henry Gundacker. During the Army Warfighting Assessment 17-1, the Rapid Fabrication via Additive Manufacturing on the Battlefield, or RFAB, is a system creating more than just solutions.
What's unique about the RFAB is it gives me the capabilities to be able to reverse engineer or replace for a temporary fix a prototype part in the event that if it's a part that was made out of metal, I can prototype it out of plastic to get it to work. If it does work to get you down the road so that metal part gets there, that's extra time that you have with the capabilities of the RFAB.
It runs off of an SD card. I just click on print from SD, find what I want to print, let go, and the machine does the rest. It will start forming an outline. It just all we have to monitor is the quality of the print. If we see a little too much excess material, you just grab your tweezers, take it out, and we monitor the temperature. So I see my temperature going down. All I gotta do is go to tools.
I've been waiting for years for this to come out. It gives me the opportunity to not only be able to work with metal, with wood, it gives me now the capabilities to work with plastic. So if I have to reverse engineer a part for you, I can prototype it before I have to go and waste material. So if I can save money by building it out of plastic first and make sure it test fit, that metal piece that I give you will be exact match and spot on.
The RFAB kits will have required software and tools, as well as a database of approved design files for parts and more. Reporting from Fort Bliss, Texas, I'm Staff Sergeant Henry Gundacker.
When soft trains, we operate in hyper-realistic environments. We want to recreate the training situation to be as realistic as possible. And when our forces hit the ground, they're going to conduct it exactly like we would in the real world. And places like AWA give us that opportunity to train to standard.
If you look at our theater of operations right now, whether it's Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, we are almost always going to fight as a joint combined force of some kind.
For a special operations or a special forces soldier, they should be able to read the environment, be able to digest it, and really act rapidly in order to come up with a very risk-prudent and valid course of action.
It's extremely beneficial both for conventional and soft forces to seek opportunities to exercise that interoperability before crisis and before conflict. Because we know when conflict happens, we will work together on the battlefield. Now is the time to do it and train it and prepare for that eventuality.